Hello and welcome to Thoughts on Rice, a podcast hosted by the University of California Cooperative Extension Rice Advisors. I'm one of your hosts, Sarah Marsh Janish, and I'm a rice farm advisor for Colusa and Yolo counties.
I'm Whitney Brim DeForest. I'm the Cooperative Extension Rice Advisor for Sutter, Yuba, Placer, and Sacramento counties.
My name is Luis Espino. I'm the Rice Farming Systems Advisor for Butte and Glenn counties.
I'm Michelle Leinfelder-Miles. I'm a farm advisor in the Delta region, and the counties that I cover are San Joaquin, Sacramento, Yolo, Solano, and Contra Costa counties.
Together, the UCCE Rice Farm Advisors seek to provide relevant, topical, research-backed information relating to California rice production. Today, in anticipation of the 2026 season, I'm going to be giving a bit of a wrap-up summary of what happened last season. This information was taken from reports created by Bruce Lindquist and was a report that I sent out to the Wilbur Ellis Spring newsletter a couple of weeks ago. The objective of this is to just kind of give a summary of the 2025 season and offer a little bit of guidance for the year ahead, with the caveat that obviously none of us can predict the future, and all recommendations should absolutely be taken in the context in which of the environment that they are applied to. So to start off, let's talk a little bit about the 2025 planting and harvest summary. In 2025, California's statewide rice acreage reached approximately 533,000 acres, the highest since 2016. Much of this growth was from expansion in the Delta region, where acreage rose to 15,000 acres, which is the highest amount of rice acres planted in the Delta in a very long time. Around 25% of the rice fields were planted early, mid-April to early May. But unfavorable May weather caused many fields to be planted later, creating a split planting pattern and two cohorts of rice. A cohort that was planted early and a cohort that was planted late. This late planting affected harvest. Although the summer was mild, increased rainfall and higher temperatures during grain fill, the late September to mid-November period, led to challenging harvesting conditions and suboptimal grain quality. Some rice fields were still being harvested into early December. The statewide average yield was 84.5 sacks per acre, a sack being 100 weight, and this number fell short of initial expectations and last year's figures. The wet harvesting conditions led to some post-harvest challenges. These wet harvest conditions resulted in widespread field rutting and increased reliance on tracked harvesters, such as hardy harvesters. Post-harvest operations like chopping and tillage were often delayed or reduced. To address field ruts and leftover residue, stompers were used on more acres than usual. But demand for this service outpaced supply, increasing costs. As we prepare for 2026, it's important to keep residue management in mind. It's important to address the impact of these wet conditions on residue decomposition. Poor decomposition of rice straw can tie up soil nutrients and allow disease spores to survive over winter, increasing the risk of disease infestation in the following season. In the spring, it's important to focus on tillage and thorough field preparation to incorporate residue and level fields for optimal planting and fertility. When it comes to pest and disease issues, it's difficult to say exactly what's going to be on the table in 2026. In terms of pests, specifically weeds, Walter's barnyard grass is a continuing problem, and research has shown that this weed has resistance to many existing grass herbicides. For more information, please refer back to Dr. Whitney Brim DeForest's presentations that she gave throughout the winter grower meetings, which can be found on our website. Winged primrose willow, Ludwigia decurrens, which had previously only been found in Butte County, was detected for the first time in Placer County in 2025, and monitoring for this invasive weed has increased. For diseases, the incidence of Bacchinae has been on the rise, which is something to remember going into the 2026 season. Using a bleach soak at the recommended timing and bleach concentration is the best way to reduce Bacchinae incidence. In terms of insects and invertebrates, tadpole shrimp is showing some evidence of resistance to pyrethroids, which is something to consider when doing early season management options. While armyworm populations have not been impactful in several years, it's still important to scout early and scout often, and use the Armyworm Monitoring Network maintained by Dr. Luis Espino, and that will be linked in the show notes. Choosing varieties to plant in the field is also a really important thing to be considering, especially as there will be some changes in the seed portfolio coming into 2026. M211 is known for its high yields, but poor grain quality has led to restrictions at several rice processors. 2026 will be the final year for foundation seed sales of M211, which is being phased out. M212, when it becomes available, will be the recommended replacement for M211. This new variety matches M211 in yield potential, offers improved grain quality, and is genetically similar to M206. Certified seed of M212 will be available in 2028, but seed growers will have it this year. And following that 3-year cycle, that means that we will start to see higher acreage of that in 2027, with the certified seed of M212 being available to everyone in 2028. M206 is also being phased out, with M210 recommended as its replacement. For more information about variety specifics, please refer back to our podcast episode with Dr. Harrell and Dr. De Leon, who talked about these in detail. Just to kind of sum up what we've talked about here, there are a couple key takeaways for 2026. Prioritize residue incorporation and field leveling during spring preparation. Stay informed about evolving pests and disease threats and use integrated management strategies. Choose varieties carefully, considering both yield and grain quality. By following these suggestions and remaining flexible in response to changing field and weather conditions, California rice growers can set the stage for a successful 2026 season. We have a couple of upcoming events we'd like to share with you. An event I'd really like to emphasize here is the Rice Production Workshop, which will take place over 2 days, March 18th and March 19th, at Lundberg Family Farms in Richvale. Like I said, this is a 2-day workshop. It's all day, 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. both days. And this is a big meeting for us. We hold this meeting every 2 years, or try to, and this gives us an opportunity to go through the rice production manual and cover in depth the principles and practices of rice farming in California. We have applied for DPR hours and CCA hours for both days for this meeting. We are asking that you register in advance. That registration is required for this workshop. And there is a cost associated with it, but the cost will cover both days' lunches and meals and the cost of the rice production workshop manual, which every participant will get to follow along with at this meeting. If you're interested in signing up for this workshop, there will be a link in our show notes. The Migratory Bird Conservation Partnership will be hosting several conservation incentive program workshops for the 2026 Spring and Summer Conservation Incentive Programs. They have 2 separate dates planned in different areas of the rice growing regions, so if you can't make one, feel free to attend the other one. The same information will be presented at both. I do want to note that the Sacramento Valley workshop will be Thursday, March 19th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Sutter County Ag Commissioner's Office at 142 Garden Highway in Yuba City. Now, that is the same day as the second day of our rice production workshop. So if you're unable to attend the Sacramento Valley workshop for the Conservation Incentive Program, there will be another date in the Delta on Thursday, March 26th. From 1 to 3 p.m. at Staten Island House at 23319 North Staten Island Road in Thornton, California. Again, same information will be presented at both. You'll be an opportunity to meet program representatives, learn about upcoming opportunities, and get your questions answered about these conservation incentive programs. On July 30th, UCCE will be partnering with the California Rice Commission to hold the Rice Quality Workshop. That will take place at Hillcrest Catering in Yuba City and will go from 9 till noon. This meeting will also have registration required, and although that link is not available yet, as soon as it is available, we will have it up on our websites. For more information about these and other upcoming events, feel free to check out our resources, which include the UC Rice blog and the UC Agronomy Rice website. In terms of other resources you might want to take advantage of, you can also look at our newsletters, which include Rice Briefs, which covers Colluciolo, Rice Notes, which covers Yuba Sutter, Rice Leaf, which covers Butte and Glen, and Field Notes, which covers rice in the Delta region of California. Thanks for listening to Thoughts on Rice, a University of California Cooperative Extension podcast from the University of California Agricultural Natural Resources. You can find out more about this podcast on our website, thoughtsonrice.buzzsprout.com. We'd love to hear from you, whether it's from using our text link in the show notes, a survey submission in our feedback form, also in the show notes, or in a comment or rating on your podcast streaming service of choice. You can email me with any comments, questions, or concerns at smarsh@ucanr.edu. Another year has begun, and it feels like planting is right around the corner. And remember, like the growers like to say, have a rice life. Mention of an agrochemical does not constitute a recommendation, merely the sharing of research findings. Always follow the label is the law. Find out more at ipm.ucanr.edu. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the University of California. The material and information presented here is for general purposes only. The University of California name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service.